I swapped out the cases between my old junked one and the one that the tree had fallen on. I was able to make one good saw out of it. I'm going to play around with it. The only cost was, I think it was $17.01 for the saw. Then I did buy gaskets, because you need to replace that. There's a main gasket in the case. And I put new seals in the crankshaft. But that wasn't very expensive. And then I did buy a new bar. Part of it, I'm playing around with an idea here. This is the microlight bar. They're much narrower. Now, I was thinking, I run a 20-inch on my other one, and I was thinking on this one, if I could run that microlight bar, it takes a lot less cut, a lot less width to the cut. And they do make a rip chain in that microlight. Well, that would allow me to take a much narrower cut, like when I'm ripping planks, let's say if I was going on like a 12-inch square piece, the bar would be, an 18-inch would be plenty long, and by using that narrow rip chain, out of a 12-inch chunk, I could probably get one extra board, so it might be worth doing that. I'll have to think about that some. They do actually make a microlight for my 55 too, I could do that. But I kind of like the bigger chain. But I thought this, have one of each. I went with an 18, but I could actually swap out my 20 onto this. They're all interchangeable. I was actually tempted to go with like a 16-inch bar on this one, and I might pick one up just to have it as an option, because sometimes if you're doing like little trimming and stuff, just a lot easier to deal with a shorter bar. Though the weight of the saw isn't going to be much different, because like I say, this 51 weighs almost the same as the 55. Most of the parts are identical. But it runs, and when I had it apart, I could see it had very few hours on it, before they dropped the tree on it. Because there wasn't much wear, like the piston and everything was in perfect shape. So I'm pretty sure that, somebody didn't use it much and then dropped a tree on it. I'm using, the tree had damaged, well, almost everything but the internals. Because I'm using parts off my old junker, with the covers and the gas tank and everything. So I've used up pretty much all my old parts to put this saw together. So now I'm going to have to start shopping for another junker to strip parts off of. But I lucked out in that this one had the good piston and cylinder, and I used the crankshaft that came with it, but I do have a good crankshaft off my junker if I should ever need it. But that's the saw. She lives. And a good little saw. I do like them Husqvarna. When I hear, I think in the last video I did on Husqvarna, somebody saying, oh, buy a steel. Well, really, steel and Husqvarna, very little difference in between the quality of them. They're both really top-notch saws. Husqvarna usually is a little cheaper. I know somebody who just went and bought one of the steel in the Pro line, which is what you almost have to do now, and paid like $1,600 for it. Well, that's a lot for a saw that you could drop a tree on. And he really, he doesn't use a saw that much. It was kind of, but some people want the best, and I don't there again need the best. I need just something that's pretty damn good. And Husqvarna is a pretty good saw. So here you can see, well, you hear that racket as woodpeckers. When woodpeckers are nesting, they find stuff to bang on to make a loud noise. And that was one actually banging on a bat house because he gets good resonance out of it. But this is that case, and you can see the one that the tree had fallen on. It bent it way back to here and broke out that whole back piece. But, like I say, the cylinder was good. But it kind of run me out of there's a woodpecker again. They get drumming on, like on steel stovepipes and stuff like that. They just love to make a racket. But the parts I do have left over, I've got a good carburetor, and it's one of the Warbo ones, and a good ignition module, and I do have a good crankshaft, which, you know, you never know when you need one of them. But that's about all I got good left from this one. She's pretty junked. But, you know, usually if you got a problem with the chainsaw, it's going to be one of these two units. Usually the carburetor, but well, it's good to have it going. And you know, well, someplace around here I got that old piston laying. Here's the old cylinder, but that's the junker one. But that's scored up beyond repair. And the piston was the same way, you know, just scored up. But that's usually what you'll find. But like I say, when I bought this one off eBay, you know, I could tell by looking at the picture, you know, this was the gas tank. And when you see that handle all busted up like that, I mean, there's the only one way you do that is drop a tree on her. So I knew that was the problem. Though, you know, you are taking your chances, because like I say, most of them you're going to find, you know, scored cylinders on them. This is the greatest likelihood. But it isn't so much, you know, when you look at those ads, you got to really look at the pictures and really read the description. But you kind of have to read between the lines, you know, because, you know, like this, the guy would have never said that he dropped a tree on it, because then he would never be able to sell it. But, you know, I knew that I had that other junker to use for parts. But you do have to use caution.